These are the top 7 high-yield savings accounts that everyone needs at least one of in 2024, based on the top offers that I'm seeing currently as of Q2 2024. And please stick around towards the back half of the video because we're gonna talk about 3 of these accounts that are paying an interest rate of over 5%. And if you're new here, hi, I'm John of John's Finance Tips. This is a channel we dedicate to talking all things money, and today's money topic is all about making money. Specifically, how to get more free money with your money in the form of a free high-yield savings account. And a quick note on all the accounts we discussed today, everything is gonna be FDIC insured, meaning you're protected up to $250,000 per depositor per insured bank. I know we saw what happened in 2028, banks going kaboomy, people having over $250,000 worrying what ended up happening. Now, the government came in, we flipped the bill, they were sorted, but just note that all of these accounts are FDIC insured, so you do have that peace of mind. With that said, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. Coming in number 7, we've got the big orange bank, Discover, with a high yield savings account. Opening requirements. Right now, there is no minimum required to open the account. Benefits. With the Discover Bank high yield savings account, there is no insufficient fund fee. In addition, there is no monthly maintenance fee. Interest. Right now, having your money in a Discover high yield savings account will pay you a whopping 4.25% interest. What's my verdict and recommendation? Here's the thing, Discover is a big player in the finance space. Not only do they have a high yield savings account, they also have a checking account as well as credit card. So it wouldn't hurt to get your foot in the door. In addition, if you already have a credit card or a checking account with them, it's pretty straightforward to go on there, pop it open, just open a savings account. And for me personally, they have some of the best beginner credit cards in the space. And so it's great to kind of just be in one ecosystem, having one place to log in, you can see everything. Number 6. We have our friends over at American Express with their high yield savings account. Opening requirement, nada, you just go on, pop it open. There's no minimum required to open. Benefits, no monthly maintenance fee. In addition, there's no minimum balance required. Interest. Right now, the American Express high yield savings account is paying a whopping 4.3% interest. My verdict, recommendation, and comments. Here's the thing, very similar to Discover in that American Express is a huge household name. And so really by having high yield savings account, it's just to have all your financials in one place because they have some of the best credit cards on the marketplace, from beginner cards to mid-tier cards to top-tier cards. Coming in at number 5, and this is where things get a little bit more interesting. So we have a high yield savings account from Barclays Bank. Opening requirements, no minimum. Benefits. And where it gets interesting here is that there's actually a sign-up bonus associated. Now, it's a pretty hefty one, but if you do have money that you've saved up, whether it be down payment to pay for school, whether it be emergency fund, it wouldn't be a bad place to shift it over. Because as long as you do this before 5/3/24, you can get a bonus of $200 for moving $25,000 of deposits over into a Barclays high yield savings account. Other benefits for this card, very similar to the rest we talked about, are there's no monthly maintenance fees associated. Interest. Right now, the Barclays high yield savings account has an interest that is 4.35%. My verdict and recommendation. It's awesome to see a sign-up bonus associated to having a savings account. However, it is a ton of money. Though the counter argument to it being a ton of money, it's not a bad place to park $25,000, scooping up 4.35% of interest. And as a quick side note, folks, if you're interested in any of these top card offers, you can feel free to check out any of my top affiliate links in the description box down below, and I really appreciate y'all for supporting the channel. Coming in at number 4. Even though this is 4 out of the top 7, I think for a lot of people, this is really the sweet spot. I think this is an account that most people are gonna get a good amount of value from. And this is an account that we're gonna look at from our friends over at Sofi. So, the opening requirements. This one is a little bit unique. When you open a Sofi high yield savings account, you'll actually also be opening a checking account. That's just the way it works. It's not gonna cost you anything, but when you open an account with Sofi, you get both that savings as well as the checking account. And that's actually gonna be a net positive for you, we'll touch on in a second. And other opening requirements, there really aren't any. There's no minimum required to open the account. Benefits. So you have to do this before the end of June of this year to get this sign-up bonus, and it's a $300 sign-up bonus. The way you get it is by way of having that linked checking account. So once you get everything set up, if you have direct deposits of over $5,000 in during that promotional period, you're gonna get a sign-up bonus of $300. If you have direct deposits anywhere between $1,000 and just shy of $5,000, so just $1 less than $5,000, you'll only get a sign-up bonus of $50. So do all that you can, but I highly recommend to get a direct deposit in of over $5,000 within the promotional period so you can get yourself a $300 sign-up bonus. Now let's talk about some of the other benefits. For this, we're gonna split up into the checking account and the savings account because technically you're gonna have both if you just open a savings account. So with the checking account, you have a pretty cool benefit called roundups, and this is associated to using the debit card given to you. So basically, you swipe the debit card and let's say you have a charge for $1.12. Well, they're actually gonna round up from the 12 cents to the next whole dollar and deposit that into your account, which I think is pretty cool. Though I don't know if I would necessarily use a debit card, but hey, if you're a debit card user and that's what you're for, then you might get a ton of value from the roundups. On the savings account side, you have a couple of features. So one of them are called savings vaults. They're basically, think of it as almost mini little sub accounts within your primary savings account. And so let's say you have a chunk of money in there, $1,000, then you could have a little vault for maybe car payment, for mortgages, for vacations. And then you can just reallocate that 1,000, 100 here, 200 there, 300 there, and just the easier way to visualize where exactly your money is put. There's also auto savings. So when a direct deposit hits your checking account, you can set up auto save to start moving money around without you necessarily having to go in and move it every single time. And of course, there's no minimum deposit required to keep this all fee-free. And that applies not just for savings, but as well as the checking. In fact, for both accounts, there's not gonna be any fees, no monthly fees, no minimum fees, as well as no maintenance fees. And so the interest you're gonna get, and there's actually two. So the interest for the high yield savings account is a whopping 4.6%. But that's not all. For the checking account, you also get a little bit of interest, and that is 0.5% interest for the checking, which again, if you look at most checking accounts out there, they're not paying you interest whatsoever. And the way you want to use a checking account is kind of that's where all the money hits, and then it gets redistributed to various accounts you might have, whether it be an IRA, whether it be a high yield savings account, whether it be a brokerage account, but the checking account is your main account. And so for that to scoop up just a little bit of interest, I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal. So again, the savings account has a whopping 4.6% interest, and the checking account has 0.5% interest. So my verdict and recommendation, folks, this is an account that I would have jumped on yesterday. Truthfully, this is just such a great sweet spot. You're getting a ton of interest payments, you get all of these features and benefits, and you get a sign-on bonus for making this account all day. Coming in at number 3, and for the remainder of the accounts we talk about, all of these are gonna be paying an interest at or above 5%. So bank number 3, we have the Laurel Roads High Yield Savings Account. Opening requirements, same as everything else, there's not all that much required to open it. Just go ahead and sign up for an account. Benefit, it's gonna be a little bit sparse at this level because the benefit for a lot of these accounts is they're giving you a ton of interest. And so not a whole ton of bells and whistles other than the fact that there's no monthly maintenance fees, which hey, we're gonna take all day as a great benefit. Interest. The interest right now paying on a Laurel Roads High Yield Savings Account is a staggering 5%. That's insane if we even think about just going back 2 years ago where high yield savings accounts were considered high yield when they gave like over 1%. You're getting 5x that, 5% for that Laurel Roads account. My verdict and recommendations, I jump on this all day. Coming in at number 2, we have our friends at Basque Bank with their high yield savings account. Same as Laurel, no real minimums required to open, benefits pretty fee-free, not a whole ton there. And the interest we have on a Basque Bank high yield savings account, 5.1%. Ladies and folks, any given day, all day, we are jumping on this. And coming in at number 1, my top high yield savings account for Q2 of 2024 is our friends at UFB Direct with their high yield savings account. There's a little bit more to tease out here, so we'll go through it. So as far as opening requirements though, same as everything else, not all that much required to open it. As for benefits, there's not gonna be any maintenance fees or service fees. Though the one thing that you could tack onto this, if you were so inclined, is opening a checking account and potentially getting an additional 0.2% boost of interest to the already really high interest rate they're paying on the savings account. So to get a boost of 0.2% interest, you're gonna have to do 3 things. For one, you open a checking account and you have a direct deposit go in there of at least $5,000. That's gonna give you a boost of 0.05% interest. Then maintain a minimum daily balance of $10,000. That gives you a boost of 0.1% interest. And then if you took your debit card and actually used it 10 times every statement cycle, you get another 0.05% interest, which all adds to 0.2% of additional interest on this account. And speaking of interest on this account is paying what I believe is an industry-leading 5.25% interest. And if you layer on this 0.2 boost, you could potentially get up to 5.45% interest. I mean, that's insane. That is actually insane to just have an account that's free to open, you put money in, you do nothing, and you're just gonna get paid 5.45% interest every single year. Like, what? And so these are my top 7 high yield savings accounts for 2024. However, I'm gonna throw you guys a bit of a bone. There's actually a way you could scoop up some of this yield and avoid potentially state income tax. That is by buying Treasury Notes. So basically, they're IOUs to the US government. You go ahead and lend them money. They promise to pay you back within a certain time frame plus interest. Right now, you can buy treasuries at either a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, all the way up to 5 or 10-year intervals. They are paying some a little bit north of 5.3% interest. And what makes that particularly enticing for me is the fact that I live in Massachusetts. There's a high state income tax. If I buy treasuries instead of putting money in a high yield savings account, I don't have to pay state income tax on the interest I earn. The flip side of it is with treasuries, obviously the money is gonna be locked up for that 3-month or 6-month or 9-month, whatever interval that you go ahead and buy the note for. So if you can set aside money and do that, I personally would recommend it because again, you'll save on the taxes that you owe. This has been an incredible video. If you'd like to support my channel in any way and you wanna check out some of these top card offers, link is gonna be down in the description box. And as always, questions, comments, drop it down below and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.